LSU, I think they just regret hiring him and they don't want to pay his full buyout. I honestly, I think they're full of shit. I really think they're full of shit. And I kind of agree with Brian Kelly on this. Like, it just seems like they're just not trying. They're trying to just get out of their way of honoring the terms of the contract. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Will Charlton. That's Zain Bando. This is another edition of Forever Power 5. You can watch all Empty the Bench shows on youtube.com/ETB. Where am I going? You can follow us across social media at FP5 ETB and at Forever Power 5, no caps or spaces on TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick DiMart, Will at Will Charlton H13, Zan at Zain Bando 99. You can watch all Empty the Bench shows on youtube.com/ETB Network, and you can listen to Forever Power 5 wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure to like and subscribe. And this show is presented by Playback. Stay tuned for later in the show to find out more. All right, so we now have new college football playoff rankings. I was not on the last show, so I didn't get a chance to respond to the first college football playoff rankings. There's a lot to get to with the rankings. In terms of top 10, I don't have a ton of disagreement.
Texas in there just still cracks me up.
When you say you don't have a ton of disagreement with the with the top 10, what would you have changed?
The only thing I would have changed is I would put A&M ahead of Indiana. I think A&M's a better team than Indiana, but in any practical sense, it doesn't matter. Like, it really just doesn't matter whether who's 2 and who's 3. And I just think the stage should be set for A&M to be ahead of Indiana in general. I think their resume might not. Right now, though, I just think A&M looks better than Indiana does.
No, they do. I definitely agree with that. I think A&M's A&M's playing on a different level right now. Like that team is playing insane right now.
And Texas Tech, I can't disagree with being at number 6 because they've dominated their schedule as long as their quarterback wasn't hurt. So, they're
undefeated. I think there's a case for them to be being higher than Georgia, to be honest.
You could make the argument, but again, it's splitting hairs at that point. It's hard to compare the two teams anyway. It's hard to compare the two teams anyway. Like, do they even have any common opponents, Georgia and Texas Tech? Like, it's like they play in two completely different leagues. It would be like comparing an NBA team to an ABA team. Like that's how different those teams are. In terms of like Notre Dame and Texas being in there and Oregon, I really just don't have an issue with it. Like, people are criticizing Texas for being in the top 10 this week. Well, who else would you put in the top 10 ahead of Texas? Like, if you look at all the teams below them, the team immediately below them is Oklahoma, who Texas destroyed at Red River. So obviously Texas is going to be ranked ahead of Oklahoma. So I don't even understand like what the criticism of where Texas is ranked is.
I just think it's just, I don't think that Texas has, I mean, I get that they have the win over Vanderbilt and obviously the Oklahoma win, but if BYU would have lost a little more respectable to Texas Tech, there could have been an argument there, but I was more so just like saying when Texas is in there, like they're not going to be in there for that much longer because they have 2 games that they're going to lose on their schedule the rest of the way. So I'm just saying, I know they're in there for now, but they're not going to be in that much longer.
That very likely is true, but the committee can only work with what's already happened.
No, I think just based off who they've played and who they've beat. Obviously they don't have incredible other games. I mean, they barely beat Kentucky on the road. They barely beat Mississippi State on the road. But then again, I guess wins are wins, right? And the almighty SEC.
I think that and I said this a few weeks ago, I think that Texas is struggling was a little bit of an illusion because they just weren't playing home games in the SEC. And I know it seemed like they were like, I think it seemed really bad with the way Texas was playing and like barely beating teams that weren't very good. But it turns out that that's happening in the SEC a lot. It happened a lot last year. It happens a lot. It's happening a lot this year. I mean, the only SEC team that's consistently rolling through their competition is A&M. And, even then Arkansas kind of kept it close to them against Texas A&M.
Yeah, so but since then, I mean, they've just been on a heater.
Yeah, and it's like, look, Texas is not the only team that had a lot of ugly wins. I mean, Ole Miss, they barely beat Wazoo, who is terrible. They struggled against Kentucky. They struggled against Arkansas. So I'm not going to sit here and just hold that against Texas. I don't really think that's totally fair. I think it was really just a product of their schedule. And a win against Vanderbilt really is not so bad. I mean, I'm not saying they have any great wins, but if you compare them to BYU's best win was at home against Utah. That's their only ranked win. So, and I don't really, and they weren't even close against Texas Tech. And the other thing is, so overall, Texas's resume is better than
Texas Tech is by far the best team in the Big 12 when healthy. I mean, you could safely say that.
It's not even close this year. So BYU, like, they weren't even competitive against Texas Tech.
No,
Texas doesn't have a loss like that. They even their loss against Ohio State was not like that.
No,
they're only 14-7.
Yeah.
Right, that was the final score, 14-7, or was it 21-7?
14-7.
Yeah,
it was 14.
They had a chance near the end of the game to go down and score, but they ran out of time.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
So here's Paul Feinbaum.
Already, so weird about that.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's so long ago already. It's weird to think about that.
Well, yeah, that's how the college football season is just so long all the time. Like, it's like ancient. Week 1 is ancient history. Like, week 1 makes no sense knowing what we know now. Like, Alabama losing to Florida State week 1.
How in the world? Like,
how does that happen?
Seriously, how does that happen?
That still doesn't make any sense.
But think about it. Every year, the same thing happens week 1. There are two things that. One thing about being a college football fan is that it's a learning experience every year. Every year is a learning experience. And there's a few things I learned this year that I probably should have learned earlier, which was don't take week 1 too seriously. And the other is don't trust, never fall for a Mario Cristobal Miami team ever again. Because I fell for them last year too, and I thought, it looks like they're making the playoffs this year. And then this year they looked pretty good, and then it looked like they looked like one of the top teams in the country. And then they lose to Louisville and SMU, and it's like they're probably not even going to make the ACC championship game.
No,
this year.
And the ACC is so weird.
It is.
Well, the weird thing with the ACC is that they're Miami is the highest ranked ACC team right now.
Which makes no sense considering that it lost to Louisville just a couple weeks ago. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it makes, on some level,
I just feel like you're downgrading Louisville for winning. It doesn't make sense.
Well, here's the thing: Louisville just lost at home to Cal, and Virginia just lost at home to Wake Forest. Like, Virginia and Louisville have suffered 2 awful losses at home.
Yeah, but exactly.
But does
those 2 losses alone
them being so far down below Miami though? That's what I don't get.
They're not that far below Miami. I mean, here's
it's 5
the thing.
spots.
I think that Virginia was probably ranked a little too high. I mean, Virginia really just isn't that good, and their win against Florida State, I think, says more about Florida State than it does about Virginia.
I think Virginia's got to get the hell out of the rankings, man. Like, they haven't proven anything. They got the win over Louisville, but like apparently that's not that impressive anymore. Like,
no, it's not.
Coming into this week, like, the win over Louisville looked good because Louisville beat Miami. But after Louisville just lost to Cal at home, that win no longer looks that good.
Well, is there any shot that Miami could somehow make the ACC championship game?
But they need a lot of help.
They need a lot of. I mean, I think that this year is a perfect example of why automatic bids are just crap. Get rid of these automatic bids. I mean,
if we're being honest, the ACC really doesn't even deserve to have a team.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do either. And I'd be fine. I mean, the Big 12 has Texas Tech. I'll put in Texas Tech. But I very much agree with Paul Feinbaum on this. I'm one of the few people in this space that is not biased because I don't have a team. I don't root for anybody except whoever it is that I bet on. And here's what Paul Feinbaum had to say about I got it. I got the audio right here. Had to say about the playoff rankings on First Take.
Are you okay, Paulie, with a 3-loss team in the tournament? If it's Texas, I'm not okay with that, bro. Yeah. I am okay with that, Dougie. What I'm not okay with is your ridiculous statement from a minute ago. I mean, what is wrong with this country? Let's put a couple of people over here in. Let's put a couple of people. What about putting the best in? I don't see Major League Baseball. I don't see the NFL going. The Chiefs. They've been there too many times. Let's put the Patriots in. This is supposed to be about excellence, not about.
I just want to pause that for a second. That's a really bad example. The Patriots are at the top of the AFC East.
The Patriots are a damn good team this year.
You should have said like the Titans.
Yeah, you should have said Titans, exactly.
I'll get playing.
Being fair. This is not the little leagues where we give a second, third, fourth, and fifth place trophy. This should be the best. It's already a convoluted system. Whatever is the group of five with South Florida, and they have no business. That conference, that division really has no business playing. That's like letting the AAA best team in the league playoffs. It doesn't happen in any other sport. But for you,
it doesn't.
Well, the SEC has too many teams in, and this and that. It's just patently ridiculous.
So,
By the way,
ESCCPN.
By the way, Miami needs 4 things to happen in order to reach the ACC title game. As a heads up.
All right. So credit to First Take. I just want to give credit to First Take for that clip. I saw that clip and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I think Paul Feinbaum is 100% right about this. This is what I've been saying for a long time, which is, I mean, like I said, other than him using the Patriots, which is kind of a bad example, he's 100% right about these group of 5 teams getting in. I love how he says group of whatever, like he doesn't know what it's called. But he's right about the group of whatever teams getting in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a goddamn joke that we have this quota, that we have quotas in the college football playoffs. I guess they get rid of all of the quotas. Now, in terms of get rid of all the automatic bids. Now, people will bring up college basketball. And the obvious difference between college football and college basketball is that winning the conference in college basketball with a 68-team bracket, you can reliably say is good enough to actually be in the tournament.
Right.
And also, there's far more parity in college basketball. Like a team like James Madison could upset Kentucky, for instance, a lot more easily than, say, a team like James Madison could upset Alabama. Like it's just two totally different worlds.
Well, and there's more teams that participate in it. So
right.
there's going to be more. Yeah, 100%.
Also,
hey, don't slap my guy Alonzo Barrett like that. Come on now, don't slap my guy Alonzo Barrett like that.
We have to stop trying to fit a college basketball screw into a college football hole. They're just totally different sports. And I'm fine with group of 5 teams getting in if there's one that's good enough, which happens maybe once every 4 or 5 years. Okay, fine. But there should not be I don't like the way the current system works. If there's no ACC team that's worthy of a playoff spot, then no ACC team should get in. That's just how it is. And they were talking about a 3-loss Texas team not getting in, and Stephen A was like, "Oh, I got a problem with a 3-loss SEC team with a 3-loss Texas team getting in," and I think it depends on the context of the 3 losses. In the context of Texas, one of those losses is because I don't support qualifiers in all of this. If I haven't made that clear enough, I don't like qualifiers. In the context of Texas, a 3-loss Texas team, one of them is a week 1 loss that they scheduled against Ohio State.
Yeah, at Ohio State, yeah.
I don't think that's fair. They're effectively a 2-loss team, assuming they split against A&M and Georgia. If they split against A&M and Georgia, that is 1 win that is better than most even SEC teams.
Okay, but Florida's a horrible loss now. I think we can safely say that.
I don't think Florida is that bad of a loss, though. I mean,
they
Florida
just lost to Kentucky $1 billion to 7.
I think it is. I think it's a horrible loss.
It's a really bad loss. This is objectively true.
I wouldn't say that Florida really is that bad of a loss. Florida is a little bit of a dangerous team. Every year this happens with Florida. When Florida has nothing to play for. I mean, they kept it close. Wait, let me just go through
Dude, they just got blown out to Kentucky, man.
Kentucky's horrible.
Kentucky's the worst team in the conference.
But Florida at home is actually a fairly difficult team. I mean, Florida, they also almost, this is the same team.
The same place they lost to USF at?
Oh, yeah. No. I'm not saying Florida's a great team. I just don't think Florida's that bad of a loss. There's a difference between Florida being a good team and the loss being bad.
On the road, I feel like they're a little bit mutually exclusive.
I gotta disagree with you, Nick. I don't think so. I think Florida's a really bad loss, man.
Okay,
I don't think so either.
Okay, but even if you do think Florida is a really bad loss, the teams that you're comparing them to also have bad losses.
Hey, look, again, if Texas does win at either Georgia or A&M, which they probably have a better chance of A&M because that's at home.
I think so too.
I'm just saying that they probably will get in at 9-3, but if they don't win any of those games, they're not getting in, so it doesn't even matter. They're not going to get in at 8-4.
Here's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is compared to what? Like, of course, it's a worse loss than, say, Alabama has. It's a worse loss than Georgia has. It's a worse loss than lot of
it might not be. Alabama's loss looks terrible.
It's not as bad as loss against Florida in hindsight.
No, it's not. It's
still not. But like I said, you can't take week 1 too seriously. I mean, you can't at the time. I mean, like Oregon's win against Penn State doesn't seem that bad. It doesn't seem like that good of a win, but at the time, like it was a pretty good win. And Penn State,
at the time, it was a phenomenal win. Yeah.
Right. But here's the question, though: compared to what? Okay, so if you compare them to, say, Indiana, Ohio State likely won't lose a game, or Indiana also, okay, fair enough. Oregon, okay, fair enough. I'm not saying they should be ahead of any of those teams, but compared to what? Compared to, Georgia Tech just lost to NC State. Is that not a worse loss than Florida? Like, I think losing to NC State is worse than losing to Florida.
It is.
So
I ripped on the ACC on Monday.
So like I don't. So to that I would say, okay, compared to what? Because it turns out that you get 12 teams, and okay, so let's say you just have Ole Miss, A&M, Georgia, and Alabama all ahead of Texas in the Big Ten, and then I'm sorry in the SEC, and then in the Big Ten you get the Big Three obviously, and then maybe if you're lucky, USC, which I kind of doubt USC is going to get in. I mean, USC.
Yeah, it's looking like It's looking like 3 Big Ten teams right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think USC really screwed themselves by losing that Illinois game, because if they didn't lose that game, I think they'd be firmly in that conversation.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
They need a top 12 right now for sure.
I think so.
But compared to USC, who is now a 2-loss team, likely going to be a 3-loss. Now, if USC beats Oregon, now that's a little bit of a different question.
Yeah, because I feel like it's going to be kind of hard to keep out a 10-2 USC, who has pretty solid wins on the resume.
Yeah,
the only two losses are on the road to ranked teams at the time. Well, at the time, ranked teams, but yeah,
right.
Exactly. And then the only question would be, well, who would you put in between? Then possibly it could come down to Texas and Oregon, in which case Texas would have, I think, a legitimate argument. I would say an argument. I'm not saying they would get it. I haven't really thought about it enough, to be honest.
I haven't thought about it enough either, but it's very interesting you bring it up, because it's definitely going to be a debatable point if we get to that point in the year where they're sitting there with both teams having 2 losses, or potentially a 2-loss team becoming a 3-loss team. It becomes very interesting.
Well, think about this. If Oregon loses to USC, Oregon's best win is against Penn State. Texas's best, because Texas is effectively a 2-loss.
No, because I think
I think their best win is now Iowa, to be honest.
Yeah, I think.
Okay,
so
I think their best win is now Iowa on the road.
I was going to say Iowa or Northwestern.
Then Texas would have
Northwestern.
Iowa. Okay, fine. Iowa's their best win, but at the time, like I like to take how teams looked at the time when they actually played, not so much how they turned out, because I want to be fair about it. But yes, you can say Iowa's their best win. However, Texas would have win. Texas's 2 best wins in this hypothetical scenario would be against either Vanderbilt, or a road game against Georgia, or a home game against A&M, assuming they split those.
Which would both be a top 5 win, obviously. Yeah,
both better wins than Oregon has. Not even debatable. So in that scenario, it's not crazy to me to say that Texas.
Well, and you got the Oklahoma win too. So yeah,
and the Oklahoma win. So Texas's quality of wins in that scenario, I think, is better than Oregon's quality of wins.
I would agree with that.
So in that scenario, Texas, I think depending on style points, because it kind of depends. Because let's say they go to Georgia and they barely lose to Georgia, and then they beat Texas A&M at home, who looks like the best team in the country.
They're probably in at 9-3. They probably are.
You got to put them in, and like the whole 3 loss. Like I said, I don't like the qualifier of you have too many losses. I care about your whole body of work and comparing that to other teams. I don't care about, well, if you lose X amount of games, that means you're out. We don't do that in anything. I mean, it's the same thing we don't even have that in professional sports. We don't have a certain number of games you're allowed to lose. You just have to win your division, and it's all compared to the other teams. I think it should be the same thing in college football, where
I think so too.
So where we compare everything, like I just care about the whole body of work. And the bottom line is, I really think Paul Feinbaum is right. He's right about what he's saying, about the SEC. And, I don't like the whole thing of, there's too many SEC teams. I mean, the SEC is just a damn good conference. Like, that's really just what it is. There's going to be a lot of SEC teams, a lot of Big Ten teams. Oddly enough, I think the only conference that's going to get too many teams is the ACC. We're going to have too many ACC teams, and one ACC.
It's just one, yeah.
Yeah, that's just how I see it. I do want to talk about Brian Kelly. He's suing LSU. A weird story, because apparently LSU was claiming that they fired him for cause. Nobody really likes Brian Kelly, but I will say I'm kind of on his side on this. Unless there's something that happened behind the scenes that none of us know about, I don't know why LSU is claiming that they're firing him.
He's a douchebag.
But that's not a cause for firing.
I'm just saying, there definitely could be something behind the scenes. That's all I'm saying.
That's certainly possible, but I don't know what LSU was claiming that they fired, because I don't know what rules he broke. As far as I know, there's no information to me that he broke any rules. It just sounds like he
broke the rule of not making the college football playoff at LSU. That's what he did.
It sounds like he got fired just for losing, which is the same reason everybody else has been fired this year. So how can they say they're firing him for cause?
Yeah,
I'm sure there had to be some sort of thing going on.
Yeah, there must be something nobody knows about, at least not yet.
It's possible.
I certainly don't know anything. So
that's why I think. But look, I'm not going to sit here and say, and assume that they're telling the truth. It very well could be the case that they're just trying to finagle their way out of paying his whole buyout.
Which they very well could be doing that.
That's what it sounds like to me, because I feel like if he broke here's the thing though, in today's day and age, with the amount of reporters that we have in today's day and age of social media, if they're claiming they fired him for cause, don't you think we would know?
We would know already what exactly happened.
Somebody would have leaked it.
There would have been some sort of report out there for sure.
That's what I'm saying. We see reports all the time that aren't even true.
Right.
Is it really that crazy that by now I feel like we would know about it? And I think they're just trying to use legalese essentially, and use mental gymnastics to try to justify claiming that they're firing him for cause. That's what it sounds like to me, because look, think about it. He got fired after losing an embarrassing game to Texas A&M. They got blown out in Death Valley in their own stadium. Something that doesn't usually happen to LSU.
No, it doesn't.
That leads me to believe they fired him because he was losing and not for cause. Just all the circumstances surrounding it. Other than Brian Kelly not being a likable guy, it doesn't seem like he broke any rules that they fired him for.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
The whole story just doesn't pass the smell test to me. And I think, if anything, a lot of it is also regret. They regret hiring him. They regret giving him that amount of money. Even the governor of Louisiana, I think he said something about the AD, Scott Woodward, about I don't know, he shouldn't be. I don't remember exactly. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact quote, but is something completely just outlandish as could be, without a doubt.
Like, I just think that a lot of this is just LSU. I think they just regret hiring him, and they don't want to pay his full buyout. I honestly, I think they're full of shit. I really think they're full of shit, and I kind of agree with Brian Kelly on this. Like, it just seems like they're just not trying. They're trying to just get out of their way of honoring the terms of the contract.
It does seem like that. I think this is just one of those deals that they weren't really happy with how he did down there,
and they weren't fully prepared. I'm almost certain of this, that they weren't fully prepared for the massive fallout that this was going to get, because they've handled it from a PR standpoint as horribly as you could possibly get. This is like comically bad. Like, it'll go down as one of the worst PR jobs in recent sports memory, probably ever. I mean, this is like downright preposterous.
Well, think about this. This same AD, is the same guy at Texas A&M who hired Jimbo Fisher, the biggest
that's true,
in the history of college football that's ever been paid out. So this is the same guy who made two of the worst hiring decisions in the past like 20 years, and on two different teams. This same AD. And think about this. And I've said this before, but like, hiring Brian Kelly at LSU made no sense, because LSU is a program with super high expectations, higher than most programs. I mean,
they just won a national championship 2 years after, like, they were 2 years removed from a national championship when they hired him.
Yeah, right. And they were because they fired Ed Orgeron. I think a lot of that had to do with him trying to bang the assistant AD's wife, allegedly.
I mean, yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with it. But still, that was still a little crazy that they fired him less than 2 years after winning a national championship. And,
they went, like 7-6 that year? That was like, oh, this is a really bad year. Get out of here, Ed.
And that was it. But here's the thing, though. Brian Kelly was the standard at LSU is that you have to be excellent. Mm-hmm. Good, not great, doesn't cut it if you're the head coach at LSU.
Doesn't cut it anywhere in the SEC.
Well, no, that's not true. Kentucky,
I mean, yeah, but you know what I mean.
You win 7 games at Kentucky. You can win 7 games at Kentucky. You keep your job every year.
Well, again, that's why Mark Stoops has been there for
exactly.
So he's been there forever.
Depends on the program, but LSU, the standard is excellence.
Yeah.
And good, not great, doesn't cut it. Well, what was Brian Kelly at Notre Dame? Good, not great.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you expect anything different? Like, if you looked at Brian Kelly,
I went to the national title game. What was that? 2010, something like that. 2010, I think it was.
2012 or
2013, actually.
Against Alabama.
It was the year before Florida State Auburn.
Right. Correct.
It was
correct.
Okay.
But the point is that what was Brian Kelly's tenure at Notre Dame? Good, not great. So you saw, and he was
not great, but he also turned the program around. They were a complete joke before he got there.
Fair point. That's a fair point. But the point I'm making about LSU is Brian Kelly auditioned. I mean, the same thing can be said about James Franklin, by the way, at Penn State.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly had a 12-year-long audition that LSU had a chance to watch, and they didn't come away with it as being he's good, not great. Like, how do you not figure that out as LSU? Like, to me, that was
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I do want to talk about other head coaches that might be on the chopping block. Here's one that comes to mind. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin.
I was going to say, like, he's got to be the first one that comes to mind. I don't get how they said he's staying the rest of the year. He's terrible.
Yeah, he's so bad.
Like that AD is protecting his ass so much, and I've been saying, like,
he really is. He really
the AD's got to go too. Like Chris McIntosh, the AD at Wisconsin, like they got to go together, because like I've talked with my dad a handful of times about this too, because we grew up pretty big. I grew up a pretty big Wisconsin Badger fan before I went to Illinois, and so he's still. I pretty much made the switch, but he's still a pretty solid Badger fan. We talk about all the time that Chris McIntosh has to go too, the AD.
Yeah. Wow, you switched from Wisconsin to Illinois?
I did. Zan knows that.
The same thing with With me, I switched from Michigan State to Illinois. And speaking of Michigan State, Jonathan Smith needs to go because, oh my God.
Yeah, that's becoming a joke there.
What a joke.
Like,
they were supposed to be at least solid this year.
I know they are.
Maybe like a 6-win, 7-win team, possibly, but they're not even gonna be close to that now.
They're anything but that.
Yeah.
These the most boring press conferences I've ever seen.
You haven't heard Bobby Houck from University of Montana.
Oh, really? Are they boring too?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
I would say those are the two big ones out of the Big Ten that are certainly on the chopping block for sure. It's not.
I certainly think they should be. I mean,
Bobby Houck's a fantastic coach, though. Don't get me wrong; he's done phenomenal things at Montana. I mean, they're a great program. It's just, yeah, he's hard to get sound bites from. That's all.
Hugh Freeze was fired in the middle. I thought Hugh Freeze was done a little dirty. I thought they did him a little dirty, to be honest with Hugh Freeze. I think that he made the program much, much better. I'm not saying he was a great coach, but he
certainly made them competitive. I'll give you
exactly. that. And like Auburn this year, they played a gauntlet of a schedule. I don't think they were really that bad. I mean, they really weren't that bad. I think the biggest issue with Auburn is that, like, they were never able to hit on a quarterback.
No, they couldn't hit on a quarterback, and they couldn't finish games in the fourth quarter either.
And also Jackson Arnold constantly getting sacked. That didn't really help either.
No, it didn't. No way.
Hey fans, Novig is here to change the way you play. Available in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and New York, Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and it's 10 times more profitable than traditional sports books because there's no house edge. Instead, you're betting directly against other sports fans just like yourself. Novig is also the only free exchange, which means you keep every dollar you win, whether you're putting plays down on the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, college sports, or even UFC and tennis. Novig gives you the power to pick the best odds, or better yet, set your own. Sign up today with the code ETB Network, and you'll get 1,000 Novig coins plus $5 in Novig cash, and special bonus offers like spending $5 and getting $50 back. Novig, where fans play smarter. You must be 21 years or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Forever Power 5 is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show.
All right, so I do want to get into some picks. Forever Power 5 odds are presented by Novig. Notre Dame minus 10.5 at Pitt, over under 55.5. The hook scares me a little, but I love Notre Dame here to cover the 10.5. I love Notre Dame to just roll through the rest of their schedule, just like I've said they would do all year. Their best win was against USC, which they won by, I think, 10 points. I think I could see something similar. I think they'll win by a bigger margin against Pitt. I think Notre Dame is just going to roll through the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame too in this game. I just think Pittsburgh hasn't played a real elite team until this week, and I think Marcus Freeman and the boys are going to go in and make a huge statement and end any hope that Pittsburgh has of going to the ACC title game, because I think this game has a chance to be a domination. If Pittsburgh can't keep it close, if they can't match Notre Dame score for score, it's going to be a long day. I not only like Notre Dame minus 10.5, I actually think they win the game by multiple scores. So I like Notre Dame.
Actually, I think it's 12.5 now.
Okay.
Wait, let me. I think I would. According to Novig, it's 12.5. I can fix that. I still like Notre Dame either way.
I do too. Is the over under the same?
Let me double check. Yeah, the over under is exactly the same. It hasn't changed.
Okay.
I still like Notre Dame here.
Okay.
I'm going to play this a little more conservative just because that number does scare me. And I think that Pittsburgh is actually a pretty solid team, and Notre Dame is interesting on the road. I'm going to just take the over in this game. I think that Notre Dame probably does win the game outright. Don't get me wrong, but I have a feeling that Pittsburgh can probably cover that number. I'm just not confident enough to pick either side, so I'm just going to pick the over. I do expect a shootout in Pittsburgh.
My biggest worry would be a backdoor cover.
That's also something that does worry me. Like I'm not confident enough to pick a side in this one with that number. It's too. I think it's like it's in the range of like it's too big, but at the same time doesn't feel like it's big enough. You know what I mean? Like it's like right around that range where I'm not really confident picking it because Eli Holston's a really good quarterback. Pittsburgh besides the Louisville game has played well at home. I don't know. I think that this is a really weird line, but I understand why Notre Dame's favored by 12.5. I'm just not confident enough to pick a side, so I'm just going to go the over. Expected a shootout.
All right, so heading over to the Big Ten, Michigan minus 12.5 at Northwestern. Over under is 41.5. I love Northwestern here to cover the number. 12.5 points on the road for Michigan is way too many. Michigan has been as you would say about Notre Dame, an interesting road team.
Yeah, a very
interesting road team. I mean, they're 2-2 on the road, and they got killed by USC. They barely beat Nebraska. They lost by quite a lot to Oklahoma in week 2. I don't really have any faith in Michigan as a road team. Looks like a bottom tier Big Ten team. I think Northwestern holds their own in this game. I really like Northwestern to cover the number.
Well, what about you? And then I'll go last.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. Northwestern's a really tough team. I mean, I think that they're not a really good or great team by any means, but they're tough. I mean, they play very physical. They beat Penn State on the road, which I don't know how impressive that really is, I guess, anymore. But Northwestern's played some tough teams, and they've won some impressive games.
They sure have, and they only need one more win to become bowl eligible.
And I was going to say, in that week 1 game, they lost to Tulane on the road, and New Orleans got throttled. It's like, oh, it's going to be another one of those really bad years for Northwestern where they might go 1-11 or 2-10. No, here they are at 5-3 or 5-4 right now.
5-4. Yep.
And they have a chance to get to a bowl win or get to a bowl game against the Michigan team. Just doesn't play well on the road. I'm all over Northwestern with this number here. This is the first of their 2 games they'll play at Wrigley Field this year too. So it's going to be a Michigan crowd. I mean, it's going to be a Michigan home game essentially, but I'm just saying that I think Notre Dame at home and at Wrigley Field is going to be able to play Michigan tough and really low scoring game. So I also like the under, even though it's 41.5.
Yeah, it's also the big noon kickoff game too. So it should be an electric atmosphere. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative and just say I like the under, because you never know what Michigan team they're going to get on the road. And I just think Northwestern's offense, there are some weeks where they have spurts, but it's not an offense really worth writing home about. I think they're just going to do the bare minimum, and I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest. I could very easily see this being a 16-13, 19-16 type of game. I'm not comfortable taking the spread on this one because I, contrary to both of you, think that Michigan might pull off a backdoor cover, very similar to how it fared against Michigan State a couple weeks ago, where people were least expecting that. So I want to go a little bit more conservative and say that I think the under will comfortably hit, as has
that was also at home though, Zan.
No, that was at Sparty.
Oh, sorry, no, that wasn't East Lansing. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
But as I was saying, I mean, besides the Wrigley game last year between Illinois and Northwestern, I think almost every under for the last 3 years of Northwestern Wrigley games is hit. So I'm confident to say that I think this trend is going to continue. So,
all right. Iowa is playing at USC. Wait, let me just double check to make sure the odds haven't changed. No, exactly the same. Iowa is playing at USC, and USC is giving 6.5. And I love it. You guys know I've been pretty high on USC this year.
You've been high on USC the entire season. Yes,
I have,
exactly.
and I've mostly been proven right. I have been. However, I like Iowa to cover this number because Iowa has
interesting.
Iowa plays teams tough.
Yeah, they do.
That's
Kirk Ferentz football, baby.
Yeah, no, they don't win. They don't win against good teams, but they don't. They never win.
Exhibit A this past Saturday at home against Oregon. They had a chance and they blew it.
They hold on for one more minute.
They did the same thing against Indiana. They play up to their competition, and spreads with Iowa games don't work as well, regular football spreads, because Iowa plays games that end up with all sorts of funky scores. So like a normal 2.5, 3.5 point spread, something like that, doesn't really work for a team like Iowa because they end up losing games like they did against Oregon 18-16. Like all their games end up like that with some sort of funky score, which is why I don't think USC is going to cover this number, largely because I think the game is going to be too like low scoring for me to trust USC to cover this number. So I think this game will be just like every other game that Iowa's played against tough teams. It'll be a funky score. It'll be close, but they'll end up losing in the end because that's always what Iowa does. Now, USC, I understand it's a home game for USC. Iowa's traveling to the West Coast, but it's going to be a 3:30 game Eastern time, which for Iowa, I think would be 2:30. I think they're Central time.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect them quite like USC.
No, it won't affect them at all.
Right. It's not like USC traveling across 2 time zones to play what for them is a 9:00 in the morning game. So I don't think it's going to affect them that much. And it's also easier to go from like a place like Iowa to, mild weather like USC. So I really just like Iowa here to cover the number.
Well, I'll go last again. What do you got?
Since that's 6.5, I'm going to go USC. If it was the other way around, that number would scare me, but I think the Trojans can win this game by a touchdown. USC has been very, very good at home this year. I mean, they steamrolled Michigan at home. They've just been really good at home this year. I'm blanking out. They just crushed Northwestern at home, which honestly, it's kind of, I'm not going to say impressive because it's not like,
they crushed Northwestern at home, but it was after a very shaky first half.
Yes, it was. But I think that USC is a very good team at home. They don't have to travel anywhere. Obviously, they're not going across 2 time zones again, which it wouldn't really matter for a 3:30 kick anyway.
No, and they're staying on the West Coast for the remainder of the regular season, too.
They are, yeah, because Oregon and Washington, right?
Oregon and
UCLA. Yeah. So. Yeah, I like the Trojans to cover this number. I think that Jade Mayava is going to outplay Mark Gronowski, which probably isn't that hard to do anyway. And I just think that USC's weapons are going to be able to tear up that Iowa defense a little bit. So I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm also taking the over in an Iowa football game. I think that USC is going to be able to score points at home. I think that their defense isn't that great. Iowa's going to be able to score points too. But yeah, I mean, I could see USC getting to around 30 points and win the game.
Yeah, for the record, I'm also taking the under. I think there's going to be another under game.
Really? Okay, and very interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So I am on the side of USC as well. I think the home field advantage is going to play a big part. And if you're asking me who the better of the 2 quarterbacks are, it's not even a debate. Skill for skill, position for position. USC,
although Gronowski fits so well in the Iowa scheme, it's kind of hilarious.
No, it really isn't. Trust me, if the game was at Iowa City, I'd be going the other way.
So would I. Absolutely. I'd pick Iowa to win outright if it was in Iowa City.
Yeah, but given that it's a close game, given that Iowa has to travel, and just given how good USC is and how much more, in my opinion, and this is no dig at Iowa fans, I'm sure most of them would agree with me, it's how more USC has to play for or to Iowa. USC is going to go out there and make a huge statement to prove that they're one of the best Big Ten teams that should be potentially hearing their names called in a couple of weeks to make the playoffs. So give me USC to cover the number, and of course, obviously win the game outright. So,
all right. So Oklahoma at Alabama. Alabama is giving 6.5. Will, you can go first. I'm tired of going first.
I don't think I really need to say too much. Alabama's rolling, roll tide. They're going to cover that number. I mean, it's at home once again. Alabama's been killing teams at home. I don't see why this would be any different. I mean, Oklahoma's a really odd team because we know when they play really well, they're a really good team, but sometimes they just come out and they look really weird. Like they just come out and they play like really weird games.
It's true.
And I just think with how well Alabama's playing right now, like there's really not much else to say that Alabama is going to roll in this game. Like
Oklahoma's win against Michigan was really weird too. It was a very weird game.
It was very weird, very weird. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Oklahoma's a really strange team because when they're firing on all cylinders, like we saw against like I don't know South Carolina on the road or I'm blanking out on the other win I was trying to remember. But when Oklahoma's firing on all cylinders, yes, Tennessee, yes.
That was a great
yeah, phenomenal win. I just don't think that Oklahoma's going to be able to replicate something like Tennessee again. Like Alabama's just playing so well right now. I expect the Tide to roll in this one. But 46.5, I'm going to stay away from that number. So I'm just taking Alabama -6.5.
All right. I like Alabama in this game too. I think them playing at Bryant Denny Stadium, it's obviously one of the toughest places to play in college football, if not the toughest place to play. And I just think Oklahoma is gonna have way too much against them to even keep the game close. And I think Material is gonna have to pull a miracle to even make this game somewhat competitive, whether that's either matching Alabama's score or just simply forcing a turnover, which is very difficult to do against a very dynamic Alabama offense. And I'm sure that potentially both of you would agree that I actually think this number could be even 3 points higher, and I would still take Bama. So I don't usually say this on this show, but roll Tide.
5.5. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Now it's 5.5, and also like they're very like offensive reliant. Like John Mateer didn't play. I don't think John Mateer has been the same player post hand surgery, but
no, he hasn't.
Largely because of Xavier Robinson rushing for over like 100 yards. Like, and you also have to remember Tennessee's defense is not great. I mean, statistically,
no, it's not.
No, they're not.
Alabama.
I honestly, not to be that guy, and I'm sure, and I'm sure Will in the corner over here can attest. I don't think Tennessee should be ranked at 6-3. That's, I think Tennessee blew too many chances to keep their season competitive, and now for whatever reason they're somehow being rewarded for it. I don't get it. I mean,
what's their best win right now? Mississippi State on the road?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Are we calling that a good win?
Right, no kidding.
The most impressive performance was almost beating Georgia, I think. Like that's
almost though.
Yeah, almost. What is that saying about them? I agree, Zam. Cool. I don't think they deserve to be ranked 6-3 either.
No.
And it's worth noting, by the way, that Tennessee statistically has one of the worst defenses in the SEC. I mean,
it's not good.
In most categories, in like yards per game, points per game, they're like the second worst defense in the SEC. So, like
only above Mississippi State, I assume.
Yeah, no, Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas. Geez, okay, that makes sense. And speaking of, it's not under, but Tennessee is New Mexico State. So take your pick as to how many points they'll win that game by this week. Jeez.
So. I think Oklahoma, like I said, I think they're very The thing with Oklahoma, I think you said it perfectly. They're a weird team. It's similar. They're almost similar to how I feel about the Miami Dolphins, which is that they're a good team as long as everything is going right. You know what I mean?
And it has to go right to an absolute T. Otherwise, the whole thing is totally messed up.
Like Alabama, for instance, they didn't play well against South Carolina, but they figured out a way to win. And, things weren't going great for Alabama in that game, but they figured out a way to win. Oklahoma, it's like everything, like they can get some really good wins, but everything's got to really be going well for them. Like they have to be firing on all cylinders and all that. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that on offense against Alabama. First of all, Alabama's offense is definitely better than Oklahoma's. I mean, they're one of the best offenses in the country.
Absolutely.
Alabama is absolutely rolling on the offensive side of the ball. And you know what? Their defense, like they scored 33 against Tennessee. Alabama's defense is much better than Tennessee's defense. Even though they're more of an offensive team under Kalen DeBoer, like I just don't like Alabama's defense is definitely a level above Tennessee's defense.
Sure
and
is.
Oklahoma
Sure is.
will not, and John Mateer didn't even play that good of a game against Tennessee.
No.
And they were able to win. I don't think the same thing is going to happen against Alabama. I think Alabama covers this number easily. Staying in the SEC, Florida is playing at Ole Miss. I want to make sure that number has stayed the same. Hold on a minute. It should. Will, you can go first. 16.5.
I mean,
14.5. Okay, 14.5. It did go down.
Ole Miss is going to win the game.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think so too.
The hook, man.
The hook is
the hook. I mean, it's really Ole Miss could literally win this game by 14 points. That's the thing. I don't know. I'm still going to go Ole Miss. I just the Rebels have a really good team. I mean, I think that they play really well at home. I think that Ole Miss is a really solid team. And they've proven that they are. This is a really interesting game in the fact that this feels like a game that Florida just gets up for and might actually play with them. But after last week, how Florida played on the road, I don't see it. I mean, I think Ole Miss should probably roll in this game, and I think I'm going to go the under. I just think that Ole Miss is probably going to score somewhere around the 30 to 37 range. Florida just ain't going to do anything. So, give me Ole Miss, and I'll take the under.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin knows that his team is being a little disrespected by the national media, and I think this is the week that he goes out and puts out a huge statement on the field, rather to prove that the committee needs to wake up a little bit more, because as we sort of alluded to earlier in the episode with A&M, there are just a few of these teams that maybe not ranked exactly what they should be, and you could make the argument that maybe Ole Miss just simply is one of these teams, even though they'll more than likely host a home playoff game in the first round. But no, nonetheless, this is a game where they should be able to control the time of possession as long as they can frustrate Lagway a little bit and maybe sack him 2 to 3
Florida's
times.
not even starting Lagway in this game. I don't think.
Okay.
I think they're going to their other true freshman quarterback.
Well, shoot. That makes it even worse. Give me Ole Miss to cover the touchdown and the hook. That's all I need. That's all I need to hear.
So in this game, I'm going against both you guys. I like Florida here. When Florida has nothing to play for other than
it is still Lagway. It is still Lagway. Never mind.
Okay, I thought
he just got benched against Kentucky. That's all.
Yeah, Florida is. I remember I saw on Twitter, like they named a sandwich after DJ Lagway, and somebody commented the guy is gonna make me the sandwich and hand it to somebody else. So here's the thing. Florida is a dangerous team when they have nothing to play for other than a bowl game. Florida plays up to their competition. They've done this these past couple of years. They always seem to do that. I mean, if you look at Florida this year and who they played against, and look, they were within 3 points against LSU until a pick six late in the game. That game was close. They lost against Miami by quite a lot. They beat Texas.
Not till the fourth quarter, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, not till the fourth. You're saying against Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that game was fairly close, basically until the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
The only team, good team that actually blew them out or beat them by a lot this year was Texas A&M. Yep. And Texas A&M is just on a whole nother level than Ole Miss. They came within 4 points of beating Georgia. The point is that Florida, against good teams, they play up to their competition.
Well, let's keep this in mind too. Ole Miss wants revenge for last year for Florida knocking them out of the playoff.
They do, but it's not just Florida; it's also Ole Miss, which is that Ole Miss does not really break away from teams very easily.
No, they don't.
That's
they
all. That's true. That's true. That's a good point. It's a good point.
Like Ole Miss, Ole Miss is a fairly good team, but it's like if you look at the games that they're playing, it's like, oh, like a lot of these games are very close, and they're not against great teams really. If you look at if you look at a lot of their wins this year, they struggled against Kentucky. They struggled against Arkansas. They barely beat Washington State at home.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at all of these games, all these teams that they're playing, they're not like winning by huge margins. I mean, at home, they beat South Carolina 30-14, and Florida's probably a tougher team than South Carolina. So I don't think Ole Miss covers this number. Ole Miss does not break away from teams easily, and Florida, is competitive again in these games. They always show up to play in these games when they have nothing to play for other than a bowl game. So I really, really like
which they technically do because they need to win out to even reach one. So
exactly. So Florida they have a lot to play for. I mean, Ole Miss has a lot to play for too. But in these cases, I'm telling you, Ole Miss is not going to win this by a big margin. Texas at Georgia. Georgia is giving 6.5. Wait, let me just double check that for a second. I just want to make sure it didn't change. Georgia is, but as far as I know, it hasn't. Georgia is giving, still 6.5. I like Texas here to cover the number. Georgia has not been the same Georgia team. And in these matchups, it's like, I think Georgia's a little too streaky for me to really trust them to cover this number. Georgia, every game, they're a little bit like the Eagles. Every game for Georgia is two different games.
And the first half and the second half.
Right. It's two different games. I think Texas will show up for this game. And I don't think Georgia covers this number.
They have to, because in all likelihood, even though we just had this debate for a half an hour or so, that we believe a 3-loss Texas team is going to get in, and they need to treat every game down the stretch like this is a playoff game and this is their first game. Yep. So, well, what do you got?
Yeah, Nick, I agree. I think Georgia wins the game, but I think that Texas is going to keep it within a touchdown. Texas is playing for their playoff lives right now, and I do think Georgia's going to win this game, like I said, but I think it's going to be 23-20 Georgia. I think that it might even be a game-winning field goal. Texas is going to play them really tough. Texas is going to play them really, really tough. Georgia might be riding a little high after just annihilating Mississippi State at the road last week.
Probably a huge high because it was one of the most dominant wins of the year.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, look at that. We could just roll in and beat a bad team. So they might be riding a little high. They've proven that they're not unbeatable between the hedges. Alabama beat them there, obviously, earlier this year. But, I think that Texas is going to play really well. They're going to play really well on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a slugfest, defensive slugfest.
You think?
And I do. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. Like I said, my prediction is 23-20 Georgia.
You know what? The reason I feel that way, the reason I can see that happening would be Texas and not Georgia, because most of Texas's games have kind of been slugfest, but Georgia's games that are very close, they often end up being very high scoring.
Well, here's why I'm saying that. It's because of the fact that I think Georgia's offense is going to struggle a bit against what's a really solid defense in Texas. I think the first half is going to be it might be 10-7 going into halftime. I'm dead serious. Georgia might be up 10-7. So yeah, I think Texas covers that number. I'm going the under. I like a slugfest in Athens.
All right, go ahead, Zain.
All right. Well, I think this is going to be one of the best games of the week, if not the best game of the week. I am actually all over the Texas train too. I think they covered this number. I think this game is very interesting, and actually, unlike both of you, I actually think that Arch Manning keeps them in the game, and I actually think there's going to be a scenario in this game which I don't think will come to fruition, where Texas is going to have the ball down by between 3 and 6 points, and Arch Manning is going to potentially have a chance to have his moment, and I think he'll throw a game-losing interception to lose the game. And I actually think not only am I going Texas, I'm going the under, and I think the under is going to just hit by half a point.
Wow.
27-20 Georgia.
So you're taking Georgia then?
You're taking 2 half a point. You're taking
you're right. So I actually with that being said, and I think it's going to be, well, let me rephrase. Backdoor cover for Georgia, but the under barely hits. That's what I think.
So 2 hooks. You're taking 2 hooks. Georgia and the under, each by a hook.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm actually going to be in Vegas for that game. So I'm actually going to be able to watch it, unlike most weeks. All right. A&M versus South Carolina. A&M is giving 19.5. Wait, are they playing dice? I think they're playing at South Carolina, right? I'm not wrong about that.
Seems
yes,
right.
They are at. No, it's in College Station.
Oh, it is. I don't know why I put it that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay,
well, I
so
mean, you're technically right. I mean, they are
right.
versus South Carolina.
I that format.
Anyways, yes, Texas A&M is the home team.
Is giving 19.5. I can't believe I'm doing this, and I normally don't do this in the SEC, but I like A&M to cover this number.
Okay, I was about to say, are you picking South Carolina?
No, A&M is rolling through their competition, absolutely rolling, and I like A&M, and I like, maybe I wouldn't if they didn't just destroy two superior teams by more than 3 touchdowns. I mean, so I like Texas A&M to cover, and I like the over. Texas A&M sometimes hits overs by themselves. I'm going with A&M and the over.
Well, what about you?
I'm word for word with Nick there. I mean, Texas A&M is going to keep rolling, and they might hit the over by themselves in this game. So, yeah, I mean, A&M by 1 million in this game. It's that simple. I mean, A&M is playing out of their minds right now. It's kind of insane, like how good they've been doing. Like, I wouldn't have thought coming into this year that A&M would be the team of the SEC that looks like the best team in the conference, but it's kind of it's impressive. I mean, it's really impressive what's going on down in College Station right now. So yeah, I'm all over A&M, all over the over in this game.
I like A&M minus 19.5, and I also like Marcel Reed to have a crazy performance with not one.
He might throw for 500
2,
yards,
not 3, but 4 touchdown passes.
I can see it.
So it'll be a very, very ugly scene by the 4th quarter with South Carolina just getting absolutely routed. They're going to have to hope that a literal miracle happens for them to have any chance to win this game at all. So,
all right. So last game, Utah at Baylor, over under 60.5. I'm going to keep this quick. I like Baylor to cover the 7.5 points, and I like the over because these Baylor games have all seem to have been going over.
Well, what about you?
Give me Utah. I like Devin Dampier and the Utes to go down to Waco, Texas, and get a win. I think Utah's a really solid team. Baylor hasn't really done a whole lot for me this season. But yeah, it's probably going to be a shootout. That's a really high over, though. I'm not going to touch the over under just because I think that's a little too high for my liking. But yeah, give me Utah to cover that 7.5. I think they win this game by between 10 and 17.
I don't feel comfortable picking a side, but I will say that I agree with you, Will, that I think the over-under is too high, and I actually really like the under 60.5 in this game. I think it'll be a very interesting game. It's just either of these teams have really shown me enough to say one way or another, so just conservatively enough, I actually like the under. If the over-under was somewhere between like 50 and 55, I would consider the over, but 60.5 to me is just way too high. And I thought that I thought that good things were going to happen in that Texas Tech BYU game, and they just didn't from an over-under standpoint. So I actually really like the under in this game. So,
all right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's our show this week. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Will Charlton. That's Zain Bando. This is Forever Power 5. We will be back next week. See you guys then.